I have come to believe that we can only achieve what we can imagine. And that's why every year we come back to this ritual together, the dream job exercise. Now, its significance is that it wakes up that part of us that still knows how to imagine. Drafting my dream job, well, it broke me out of the limits, the constraints of how I thought about what I could do. Once I could dream it up, that job became much easier to find. From the news team at LinkedIn, I'm Jessi Hempel, and this is Hello Monday. It's our show about the changing nature of work and how that work is changing all of us. And here we are again, a new year. It's that strange little pause where everything feels possible, right? Nothing at all feels certain yet. Happy New Year. I really mean that. I hope this one brings you some steadiness and maybe even some clarity. Because if you're listening today, I know that you are feeling the shift under your feet. I am too. You know, I'm starting this year with more questions than I have had about my own job or my own career in a very long time. Here's what I know, what I just can't really unsee anymore. Work is changing, but not in that future of work panel discussion kind of way. No, in some more real way, right now. Everyone I know is feeling it. I'm feeling it. I mean, look at me. I have this job I really love. Hello Monday is only part of it. You know, I also host live conversations for our premium members here at LinkedIn. I get to help shape media strategy for the company broadly. My colleagues are smart, kind people. They care as much as I do about this mission that we have. We get to help shape how tens of millions of people understand and advance their careers. I'm just going to say, this is the kind of meaningful work I was going for when I got started in the workforce, and still, I can see it, I can see the writing on the wall. It's as if my own career has primed me to recognize my job's demise. After all, I spent 2 decades reporting on business for Business Week and Fortune and Wired. I've spent 7 years now exploring what's happening to careers every Monday morning with you. And that's why I can tell you with some certainty that this job I have today is going to go away. 2 years from now, I will be doing something entirely different. Maybe here at LinkedIn, maybe somewhere else entirely, I don't know. I'm guessing that even if you're a person who loves your job, you might be noticing this about your own situation. You know, AI is coming for so many of the parts of my own work that I've loved. Companies are trying to keep up with this new pace of change, and in the process, they are investing differently. Projects get cut, layoffs are a constant. This is the new reality of professional life. I'm here living inside this very uncertainty, this uncertainty that I've covered for so long, and I'm going to tell you, it is uncomfortable. This year, I don't have all the answers. I'm sitting here in this studio asking the same questions that you are. How do we enjoy the work we have now when the ground keeps moving? How do we prepare for what's next when we don't know what will really matter? How do we build a life that we can trust? These are the questions that will drive our show this year, the questions that will drive me. And I want to bring up 2 big ideas as we ask them. The first, I want to ask you to hold hope as your centerpiece. You know me, I am a techno-optimist at heart. I believe in people, and I believe that we have the ability to put technology to use in service of our better selves. Now, it doesn't mean that we're always on the right track, but we have the capacity to be. And the second idea to hold front and center is this idea of agency. You see, we are not solely reacting to the change happening everywhere around us. We are actually agents of that change. Now, we don't have to predict the future to shape it either. We don't even have to see the whole path. We just need one clear signal, what we actually want. And that's why every year we come back to this ritual together, the dream job exercise. Now, its significance is that it wakes up that part of us that still knows how to imagine. If I had to name one skill for 2026 that will carry us through, it is that. It is imagination. It is the quintessential skill that will help us create a future that is better than the future that we are all scared of, the future that newspapers and politics and society would have us believe is in front of us. Folks, if we want better, we first have to see better. Now, I do this exercise every January, and back when I started in 2018, I really wasn't even sure why I was doing it. Back then, I was in this particularly miserable job. I'd hired this career coach, and she'd asked me to write my job description. I wasn't fully bought in on her yet, I'll tell you that. And I also thought my prospects were pretty bleak. I was pretty unhappy in the job I had. And I knew what I wanted. I wanted an interesting, meaningful gig. I didn't want it to take up all my time. I wanted to take time off to write a book, paid time off, where I could keep my healthcare benefits and everything. Because, hey, my wife had just found out she was pregnant and all. And by the way, I wanted a significant paid parental leave. When I wrote that all down, and even when I think about it now, I have to ask, isn't this just too much to want? Too much to ask for? So this coach of mine, she urged me to put my notions of what was possible to the side and to pretend my way to the perfect world for me. And I did it. I sent her a draft, and she sent it back. She asked me to think even bigger and to get really specific. And yes, folks, this is where I just got really annoyed with her, but I did it anyways. She wanted to know what my office looked like, how much money I made, and then she asked, was I certain about that? What was I responsible for achieving? Why did it matter to me? The end result was a one-sheeter for a job that I really thought could not possibly exist. But I knew that if I got it, I'd feel great about it. I knew it really would be the perfect job for me. I printed it out. I folded it up. I slipped it in my wallet, and I did not think about it again. Today, I have a version of that job. Every last thing that I wrote in that description, it came to pass. And it wasn't that I magically summoned it. It was that a few months later, after that, when LinkedIn approached me about a job, I knew what I was looking for. When we needed to figure out together what that job would look like, I'd already written it down. Now, if you'd asked me then, I would have told you that it all came out of the blue. But that is not actually what I think. I've had so many career experts on Hello Monday, and you've heard me say it on this show, I have come to believe that we can only achieve what we can imagine. Often we limit our imaginations before we even know what we want. Drafting my dream job, it broke me out of the limits, the constraints of how I thought about what I could do. Once I could dream it up, that job became much easier to find. That's what I'm trying to say. And here's the thing. I believe that it can do the same thing for you. Like I said, we do this exercise every January, and I always invite you to email me your finished product. Over the last couple of years, hundreds of you have done this exercise, and so many of you have sent along those dream job descriptions. So many that I've started to collect some sense of what we want from our professional lives. And I'm going to tell you, it's beautiful. In a phrase, we want to contribute, to live well. Okay, so here we go. The dream job exercise. I want you to take a moment now to gather your tools. You're going to grab a pencil and a paper, or if you'd prefer to do it on a laptop, that works too. That's how I do it. You're going to need a minimum of about 15 minutes for your first pass, not more. Choose a quiet spot, a place you know that the kids aren't going to bust in just when you're hitting your stride. I often pull my laptop right into my lap on the sofa. We have this great corner underneath this window that looks out into a beautiful tree. Now, if you'd rather read this exercise than listen to it, I'm not offended, I get it. I'm going to publish it in our newsletter, so check the show notes for a link. What's important here is that you approach this exercise with a clear mind and that you allow that mind to wander. So put your phone or laptop on airplane mode, silence those notifications. Make sure you can't access the internet. I mean that, because if you can, my guess is that you will. Oh, and one more thing. If you don't have moments in the next 15 minutes where you feel bored or uncomfortable or wonder if you're doing this right, if you don't dislike it just a little bit, you're probably not doing it right. Okay. At the top of the paper, write dream job description for January 2036. Yeah, that's right, 2036. That is 10 years away. Now, if you've been with us for a while, you'll note this part's new. We have looked 5 years out in the past. The problem with 5 years is that it's just too close. We edit ourselves. We spend a lot of time trying to think about how we're going to get where we're going to get instead of wondering about what it is that we want to feel when we get there. We get stuck in the question of whether we know practically how we're going to achieve this goal that we're dreaming up, and this is not the point. You know, when Debbie Millman first brought this exercise to us years ago, she held up 10 years as a sweet spot. She said it was far enough out in the horizon that we really can believe that anything and everything can be different. We can stop planning and start dreaming. So first, I want you to imagine who you are. Take notes here. It's all part of the job description. If you don't know the answers to the questions that I'm asking, well, that's okay. Just make something up. You can always go back and change it. Do you live alone? Or do you live with a partner? Do you have kids? Pets? Are you a city dweller? Do you live in a place where you can take a hike every day? What are you wearing? Really, specifically, what are you wearing? And remember, as you're taking these notes, don't write down things that might be possible. Really imagine what you would most love. And as you write down the things that you know that your heart wants to happen, just be there in the idea of that, in the reality of it. Okay, so give your job a title. And again, make it up, that's fine. My job title back in 2018 was Head of Technology and Humanity at The Atlantic. Now, I never worked at The Atlantic, but when I landed at LinkedIn, I recognized that the brand was just as important to me as The Atlantic. I'd landed it. I'll tell you that. Now, write down everything about this job. What's the work? How does it get done? What is its underlying purpose? And why is that meaningful to you? Where do you do it? Do you go into an office? If so, how often? What's your workspace look like? What are the tools that you use? Who do you talk to every day in your job? Who do you make sure you never have to talk to? What is everyone's opinion of you? How flexible is your schedule, really? Does that matter to you? Do you travel? Now, spend some time here on benefits and compensation. Like, really dig into it. What do you get paid? How and when does it change? When do you get time off, and how flexible is it? What benefits are really important to you? Do you want a 4-day work week? Or do you want to leave in the middle of the day on Thursdays for 2 hours to coach field hockey for your daughter? What is your real path to advancement in this role? And is it the kind of advancement that moves you forward personally, or are you ascribing to a larger collective goal? Okay, so once you have jotted down the answers to all these questions, I want you to drop that text into a doc in your computer and do a word count. Now, back in 2018, my first draft was 225 words, and that seemed kind of long to me. Like, I really thought I'd gotten everything. But the first direction my coach gave me was double it. And that's what I'm going to ask you to do. Whatever your number is, I want you to double it and make that your goal. Okay, so for your second 15-minute exercise, which you can do now or you can do later, I want you to tell me even more about that job. What it feels like to do it, where it happens, how it happens, why it's the job for you. You might feel compelled to use AI at this stage. That is okay. But listen, when you do, I want you to experiment with using it as a thought partner, not as a writer. Ask AI what you're leaving on the table, what you might want to consider. Here's a prompt I love. Think of someone public who you really admire. I did it this year with Michelle Obama. And then ask your AI, I tried it with both Claude and with ChatGPT, what would Michelle Obama encourage me to think about? Okay, so here sometimes accountability can be a helpful tool. If you'd like a reader for that job description, send it to me in the body of an email. Our show's email address is hellomonday@linkedin.com. That's Hello Monday, all one word, at linkedin.com. Here is my promise to you. First, that I will not share this beyond the Hello Monday team. You can consider it private with us. And two, that I will read every single email you send. And I'll reply. Okay, now, you need to give this the space that it needs to sink in. Put it down for a day, or even up to a week. And when you pick it up again, make any final edits, read it out loud once to yourself. If you can print it out and put it in a place where you can find it, do. Again, I stuck mine in my wallet. I kept it there for a very long time. Then your next job is just really to forget that it exists because your work is done. You'll see for yourself the impact this exercise will have. It will become a filter for you as you make career-related decisions in the year to come. Okay, folks, that is it for the dream job exercise. And I just wanted to take a moment here to tell you what a pleasure it has been to be on this journey of curiosity with you this past year. You know, my son was born the year that we launched the show, right? And he is 7 now. My daughter is 4. They almost sleep through the night. Almost. Okay, truly, we're not really close on that one, but they are learning to do other things. They're learning to read, they're discovering how to look after themselves in all the big and small ways. And we are changing too. In all the big and small ways, we are growing together. You know, this next year brings an urgency to the questions that we're asking. It brings more chaos and more uncertainty. And here I challenge you to see those things as gifts, to understand that in the midst of it all is opportunity if we only look for it. Send me your questions, especially the ones that you can't find answers to in other places. You can send them to hellomonday@linkedin.com. And if there's anybody you really want to hear from, well, send that to us too. I can't promise you I know how to get to them, but if I can get them into the studio, I will. I hope you have a really wonderful start to the new year. And I'll be right back here in this studio next Monday with more from Hello Monday. I am Jessi Hempel. It's been great to be with you. Hello Monday is a production of LinkedIn News. This show is produced by Pava Ahmad-Beghi and Adam Yates. Sarah Storm is our senior producer. Sound design and engineering by Asaf Gadron. Our theme music was composed just for us by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder. Michaela Greer and Victoria Taylor are friends of the show forever. Kyle Ranson-Walsh is editor-at-large of editorial graphics. Dave Pond is head of production and creative operations. Courtney Coop is head of original programming. Dan Roth is the editor-in-chief of LinkedIn. I'm Jessi Hempel. This is Hello Monday. See you next week.